Frame. Skip.
Get ready.
It's going to be a very, very intense journey.
Begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Welcome to episode 120 of Frame Skip, now live. We are returning from a long-awaited rest. I don't know when the last time we recorded an episode was. Austin, do you know?
I'm not totally positive on the exact date, but I know it was like the first week of January. So it's been 5 months.
It's been a minute. Yeah.
We decided to take a break, come back, and reorganize the show a little bit. And with me tonight is Austin, the Killer Eller.
That's right. I am the killer, but I didn't kill anybody. Just to clarify. Just, you know.
That we know of.
That we know of, but I don't think I did. So.
Yes.
Here I am.
Here he is. And George the Great Loftus.
We decided to take a break, reorganize the show. Maybe some of us changed the way we talked. I don't know. Just trying to get back into the swing of things.
George, what are you talking about?
I gotta put on my like serious like hosting voice. You know
Where
what I'm
are
saying?
the other drugs going? Rachel!
Where's Rachel?
What Richie?
Do
you guys think-
underneath?
Do you-
What I do
Do you guys think like Christian Bale actually like meant for it to sound like that, or did he think it sounded really cool when he was doing it? And
He has given interviews where he is extremely proud. He's like, no, in every different film I do a different voice. That was probably a bad accent because he's Welsh, but he's like, I'm fucking king shit because I do a different voice in every single project. I'm acting. I'm pretending to be someone else. And man, digital recording, I don't think had caught up to the power of his interpretation of Batman in 2005 just yet.
now, funny thing about me is I actually despise those movies, except for the first one. I think the second and third movie are just the most boring Batman movies you can possibly imagine. I get them. I understand why people like it, but they're not Batman movies to me. They feel more like a 007 movie, in my opinion. I want my Batman to be a little more theatrical, a little more out of control, right? Which is why I actually am a big fan of the Snyder Batman, surprisingly. I thought, what's his name? Matt, is it
Matt Reeves?
No. What's the actor's name?
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck. Yeah, Batfleck. I thought he did a great job.
One of your co-hosts is from the greater Boston area. Show a little more respect for Ben Affleck, please.
I'm sorry. I do apologize.
I'm only 5 hours away from Boston,
So-
you jackass. Have a little more respect.
My sister lived in Boston for like 15 years.
Well, let me ask you this
Like a year.
then, Seth. I mean, how do you feel about the new Batman?
I thought it was okay. I thought it was fun, and I liked that girl as Selena Kyle. I thought she did a really good job.
Mhm.
That girl, Zoe Kravitz, again, put some respect on these people's names.
I only got a very limited amount of space in here, and right now, like 90% of it is Legend of Heroes trivia.
I was gonna make a joke about.
And then the
Legend of
rest
Heroes,
is
yeah.
that girl.
Yeah. I thought Zoe Kravitz did a great job as Catwoman. But I will say, no matter how they tried to slice it, like as Bruce Wayne, he wasn't right. He wasn't right. But I thought as a Batman, I thought he did all right. Probably because you can put the suit on him and he looks a little more bulky in the suit and whatnot. But he just felt like a giant edgelord as Bruce Wayne.
I don't disagree with that, but I kind of liked it, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe that was like my Linkin Park days, like calling back to me. I'm not sure.
I just think that the Batman role might just be cursed. You know,
Yeah.
Like they just can't seem to nail an actor that wants to stick with it or they're happy with. So but tit for tat, my favorite one of all time is Ben Affleck. I just thought he fit the part so well.
I respect
And that
it.
dude bulked up like 50 pounds of pure muscle. Didn't do it naturally. Let's just be clear about that. But he bulked up. Right? I respect that.
Hold on. Allegedly, just to clarify.
You think he went to Germany, got some injections? Is that what you're saying?
I think he could have gotten an injection or two or 25 a day. You know,
hung out in I don't know, maybe Switzerland's got some got some new cutting edge therapies applied. Yeah.
But I thought he bulked up. He looked really good. I mean, let's be honest. Batman's supposed to be the world's strongest human, and I don't think Homeboy looks the part. Hey, George, you shake your head no. That's what Superman said.
Read a fucking comic, Seth.
Oh,
Whatever. Anyway,
Lord have
I
mercy.
missed you guys. I haven't been
missed
able
you
to
too.
razz anyone in a long time. This feels good. This feels right.
It's good to have friends you can just insult nonstop.
It is. I mean that's male friendship.
Right.
Yeah.
Caitlin's so confused as to why me and my friends at work only make fun of each other or are super gay towards each other. And I'm like, that's just how it goes.
That's
it's
how it
just the way
is.
it is.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
but-
I get that. Yeah.
To catch everybody up, let's go down the line. Austin, how you been lately, buddy? What have you been up to? What's going on? How's your life?
It's been great. It's been great.
Good.
I've had a great 5 months since we last spoke. A lot going on. You know, just a lot to do, a lot to play. So many games coming out, too many games coming out. I bought Jedi Survivor 3 days before we went to Disney, played like an hour of it, and then haven't played it since. So I need to get back to it at some point.
I had a power outage right after we left, apparently.
Yeah.
And that's I thought that it was probably a connection problem. I was trying to remote play Disney.
Yeah.
For people not that I didn't tell. And I thought it was a connection problem, but it turns out when I came back, all my microwave times and stuff were fucked up. So it was a power outage. Anyway, continue.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's been a good period. I've actually had a very positive 5 months. I feel like for once, it's been a good start to 2023 versus every other year of my life.
Hey, you okay, Muffin? need a hug?
So yeah, sure. Actually, yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. So yeah, I mean, but Seth, you brought it up there for a second. Both of us just got back from Disney, so we just went to Disney together with our significant others. Had an awesome time.
You guys double dated in downtown Disney?
Well, it's Disney Springs these days, buddy. All right, get caught up, get cultured.
Yeah.
Sorry, I work for a living. I can't just go on vacation whenever I want. I'm sorry, guys.
So, but yeah, we had an awesome time. It was kind of planned out last year, and it was the intention was to go for May 4th for Star Wars Day, get down there for Star Wars Day down at Galaxy's Edge, which we did. We all dressed up, had an awesome time.
One, I guess my invite was lost in the mail. Thanks, guys. Two, what did you dress up as? I know Seth. I've seen Seth in his Jedi Sunday's Best. Austin, what did you go as?
Yeah,
Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. Because I take umbrage with this, George, because we did invite you a year ago.
Oh, did
we
you?
did. And you said no, because you were too scared of getting sick.
Oh, yeah. I'm not gonna.
It was right after Austin's wedding.
Oh, it was right after the next wave of COVID. Right? Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably said no to that. Yeah.
So
anyway,
yes. So mine was like a more casual version of what Seth had. Mine was like more akin to like what Luke was wearing in episode 4, basically. Like his like,
so like
classic little like desert tunic type thing.
Jedi on laundry day. Yeah.
Yeah, basically. So, and then Andie, she hand sewed the Fennec Shand like skirt, the like split skirt. So she wore that. And then Seth, I guess you can speak for yourself.
Well, no, I had the official 30-pound Disney robes that they sell at the park. And they're really cool. They look great, but oh my God, are they heavy in the hot Florida sun when it's 90 degrees.
Sorry, you don't have to answer this if it makes you uncomfortable, but are you okay sharing the price of the official robes?
It's not going to make me uncomfortable. And I don't remember because it was 2 years ago. I did spend a significant amount of money at Disney World this time, though.
Dude, you honestly, like, I know you're not, but like when you shared a photo of your haul from the last time you went to Disney, I was like, wait, is Seth a drug dealer? Like how does he have this much money to spend? And then I realized, like, no, it's Star Wars, actually. Like, no such thing as a budget when it's one of your favorite things.
Yeah, well, I mean, me and Caitlin rocking that double income, no kids life. We have
baby dink. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a bit of disposable income these days. But Yeah, no, we had a blast. I mean, I had a blast. I don't know about you, Austin. You have fun?
Yes, it was an awesome time. I had not been down there literally since I was like 4 or 5 years old. So I remember bits and pieces of it, but not a whole lot. And so it was good to just be there and experience all that stuff that I had never seen before. I mean, the whole Star Wars area obviously was not there. The Avatar area. I mean, there were so many rides that I had not been on, of course, as well. So it was an awesome time. I was trying to, as we were talking, I was trying to pull up a picture. If you're okay with that, Seth, would you be okay with me showing our photo? Okay.
You guys should know I have no shame anymore.
Let me see if I can get to it. But yeah, I think my favorite thing, though, honestly, was just being there on Star Wars Day because, no joke, like, I'd say like half the people that were there were dressed up as we got there later on.
Yeah.
Not quite as many right in the morning, but there were a ton of people there dressed up later that day. And it was just cool to see and be around so many people that were also huge Star Wars fans.
Yeah. I 100% agree. And there's so much like exclusive merchandise they have. And they revealed and sold Cal Kestis's lightsaber from the new game there, which I was a little salty about because like a year and a half ago, they held a lightsaber survey as to which lightsaber they're going to release next. And Kanan Jarrus from Rebels won. And they haven't said anything since. And I'm like, don't play with me. All right. Because I will destroy your company. But
so here's our picture. I've pulled it up on the stream now. Sorry, it took me a minute, but that's what we were wearing. So cool little photo of us there. But what were you gonna say, Seth?
I don't remember. I lost my thought. It's okay though. But what was some of your like favorite rides?
So I was very partial to, of course, Tron, which just opened a couple months ago. That it's been in the Shanghai Disneyland for a while, I think since like 2016. But they just opened it here at Disney World, and it's the coolest ride. It's a roller coaster. You're strapped in like a Tron motorbike. You launch just straight out of this like stopped station, like 65 miles an hour, like you're riding a motorcycle in Tron. Just the freaking coolest thing. So
it's a real physical roller coaster?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, because you know how they do like those like integrated like virtual digital roller coasters?
No, it's the real deal.
So for Tron, they did was it an indoor roller coaster?
Part
it's
of
like
it.
half and half.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm wondering if that used to be the Aerosmith's Rock and Roller Coaster.
Nope, different park.
No,
it's brand new.
Oh,
yeah.
Holy
so do you
smokes.
know?
Okay.
Do you know where Space Mountain used to be, George?
Yeah.
They built a whole new area right next to Space Mountain. That's Tron.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah.
So I haven't been since like 2007, I guess. Like it's been a minute. Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought that Tron was also really cool. People were complaining that it was too short, but it's also I think the fastest ride at Disney World. So
yeah, if it's not, it's got to be up there. So I love that ride. Yeah. Love Guardians of the Galaxy, Cosmic Rewind, also just really cool roller coaster. And then I think the most underrated one that I went into not expecting to just absolutely adore was Avatar Flight of Passage, which is basically like Soarin', if you've ever ridden that, where you're basically thrown in front of like a giant IMAX screen, like 10 feet from your face. And it just makes you feel like you're flying through the Avatar world on a Banshee. Really cool experience.
The Banshee like breathes and you can feel it between your legs. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Not a fan of Avatar the movie. Yeah, but
don't disagree.
That second one, I saw that for New Year's. Went out to Massachusetts for New Year's. Had a lot of fun. Right on like the New York border. Me and my buddy said "fuck you" to everyone else, and we drove up to I think Albany basically. And we saw Avatar 2 on IMAX. Whew. Did not care for that movie, guys. Got to be completely honest. And I say that as like I loved the first Avatar. I saw that multiple times in theaters. Avatar 2 fucking sucks.
I couldn't believe that he was planning so many sequels and they all got like greenlit when that you could easily tank a franchise in one or two movies. So I'm not really sure how that worked out, but I've never been a fan of Avatar. I really thought that it's a pretty movie, but I thought that the first movie was boring. Yeah. Didn't bother to go see the second movie. So
There was a Newsarama article in like 2009, I think, was when the first Avatar came out, and it talked about Big Jimmy C, James Cameron, and it called him the biggest gamble in Hollywood, but also the safest bet. And
That's
so I think
interesting.
that's probably why he got so much shit approved like ahead of time. And I was so excited for that movie, man. And it was 3 hours, and I was laughing, and like the action sequences were really well done, but it was just so hard to take. I'm gonna say about 65% of that movie seriously when
Yeah.
it like wanted to be presented earnestly, and I just didn't think they stuck the landing on it. And I say that as a huge fan of James Cameron, and again, a huge fan of the first Avatar,
Yeah.
and a huge fan of just dumb schlocky action movies. I love that shit so much, but I could not get into it. I was so mad that we drove like an hour out of our way to see it on IMAX, and then I was so pissed when I found out that they were showing this other movie in town. Oh my god, I can't remember what it's called, but it's 3 hours long. It's about like the early Hollywood period. It was directed by the guy who did like Whiplash and First Man. I cannot remember the name of this movie.
Oh,
But that
Lord.
was playing like 5 minutes away from our house, and I'm like, I wish to God we had just seen that, and then went to a bar after and just pocketed that extra time.
By the way,
Yeah.
my last note on Disney here, because Seth has one in his hand. Building one of these, awesome.
yeah, so cool.
Oh, really importantly, is Star Tours still there?
It is.
Yes.
Okay.
And you know what I just found out today that I
What's
didn't know before was that it's randomized. There's over 50 like ways to go through the experience in Star Tours.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That was the first, like, I think exclusive toy I bought that I thought was so fucking cool. Was like going through Star Tours and then going to like the gift shop after, and then having an action figure of your tour guide. I just thought that was the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah, Star Tours back in the day was super cool. I think nowadays it's still cool, but it's a little dated.
Yeah.
But what do you think of the Star Wars rides, Austin? As
Oh, they were all
Rise of
great.
Resistance and the Falcon.
Yeah, Rise of the Resistance was fantastic. Millennium Falcon ride was cool too. If you're the pilot, specifically, I'd say.
Yeah.
The other seats are a little less fun because they're, for context, George, the pilot, you have like actual sticks in front of you and you're like controlling the Millennium Falcon as one would expect with the pilot seat. But the gunners and the engineers literally just like tap a button on the wall. Like that's all you do. You don't
Yeah,
control
it's kinda dumb.
anything.
You're not in the cool pod. And,
No. I wish you were.
That's it. A
Hey, I
massive
got him!
failure.
Don't
Yeah.
get cocky, kid. You don't get to do that
No.
or anything. No.
So the pilots are awesome, but Rise of the Resistance was great too. I was watching a video last night on how it works, Seth. There's some pretty cool stuff in
Did
there.
you figure out how the lightsaber in the ceiling thing works?
Yeah, so it's what I said. There's a rotating panel. So there's like a metal
Oh.
piece there that just rotates with, there's like a lightsaber that cuts through the ceiling. And we were trying to figure out how does it look like this lightsaber cuts through and creates this hole behind it. And the lightsaber basically is like stuck through the ceiling, and then the panel rotates with this hole already present
That makes sense.
in the panel. Yeah.
Because I always watch that and I'm like, it tricks my brain so much that I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
But anything else before we move on to what
No.
Elophius is?
Let them have it.
Time out.
Before
Yeah.
we move on, I do want to talk about something. Like, I appreciate Disney injecting new blood into their rides with like the Gardens of the Galaxy, right? But like that ride used to be the Tower of Terror.
In California.
Yeah.
I thought it was because I thought Tower of Terror was also in Florida.
It is.
I've been on that ride.
In
Is
Florida,
Tower of Terror still there?
Yes.
yeah, in Florida they made a whole new roller coaster for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay, cool. I just wanted
It's
to ask,
really
like,
cool.
okay, cool. I just wanted to ask about that, like the idea of like replacing old rides with like new skins like this, and if that was, if
Well-
you guys thought it was a good thing, because like I understand Guardians of the Galaxy much more culturally
Mm-hmm.
relevant now than Twilight Zone, but also like something kind of cool about digging into old history and stuff you don't know about, right?
Yeah.
Right. No, I was just gonna say that there's certain times where I think it's okay. Like they're changing Splash Mountain into like some sort of like Tiana's Bayou thing, I think. And that makes sense, right? Because no one even knows any of those characters from Splash Mountain. It was like a very obscure thing even when they came out. And I think that makes a lot of sense. For something like Tower of Terror, which is such a cool ride, and
Yeah.
something like that, I would be really upset if they changed that to Guardians of the Galaxy. But they did the right thing. And if you ever find yourself down there in Florida, George, I would say it's worth going to Disney just for the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. It's so
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm scared of roller coasters. I
Just
still
pretend
do.
it's not real.
I still
You can
do.
do it.
I still do a lot of them. Like outdoor roller coasters, I'm like almost a hard out.
Mhm.
Indoor roller coasters, I'm a little more
Yeah, it's indoor.
agreeable to.
It's great.
Oh fuck yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in.
And they play cool 80s music.
Oh,
And they have a really great
love
soundtrack. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Final question. MGM Studios, do they still do like the Indiana Jones live?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool. Okay.
that was the one thing we missed. I wish we had caught that.
Well, we were going to, but their last show's at like 4:30 for some reason.
Yeah.
So
Well,
next
hey,
time.
next year when we all go to Disney World.
Well, I don't know. Coach was supposed to come with us, and he backed out. So,
See, but I said no beforehand. I'm not the
Yeah.
kind of person who says yes and then backs out.
okay, all right, that's fair. Me and Caitlin haven't missed a year since we started, so
Really?
I'll probably be going next. Well, I mean,
Do you guys go
I don't know
last
if you-
year?
we did. We
Okay.
went right after your wedding, but your wedding
Oh.
was on that weekend, so
Okay.
we went the week after.
Oh, that's
So
right,
we
that's right.
literally we drove all the way down to Georgia that week, drove all the way back, and then drove to Philly to fly to Disney World the next week. So it was a busy month in May last year.
Damn. Okay.
All right, George, the Great Loftus, what have you been up to these past 5 months, my friend?
Not a lot.
All right, moving on.
No, I'm kidding. I'm
Just
kidding. I've done things. What have I done? I don't know what happened, but I decided to play every single Kirby game. this year.
Respectable.
I wanted to do
Respectable.
it. And I played Dreamland, beat that in like 45 minutes, like the Game Boy one. And then I just jumped right into 3DS. I played Triple Deluxe. I played Planet Robobobot. I played Kirby's Return to Dreamland DX and Kirby in the Forgotten Land. I did all that in like a month. I had an absolute blast. Kirby's amazing. I think Kirby's really special. And people
According to Death Battle, he could beat Vegeta.
I believe that. Yeah, he's basically just Boo without the restraints. Yeah.
True.
So what's your like favorite of the ones you've played?
I think I have to give it up most for Triple Deluxe. I think that's like the most basic. Like if you want to, if aliens landed tomorrow and you could only give them one Kirby game to explain the entire concept of Kirby, I think that's actually the one to do. Return to Dreamland DX is excellent, but just something really special about Triple Deluxe and the hypernova that you get to do, and you become giant pink Kirby and get to just suck up the entire background. Something funny about my newfound appreciation for Kirby there, Seth?
Just aliens landing, and they're like, explain Kirby. It's the first thing we discovered this communication.
Oh my
Explain this Kirby character.
Look, if they're smart enough to fly all the way here from wherever they came from, there's not a lot else we can teach them except for culture. I think we could teach them about R&B and Kirby. I think those are the big two things that they probably don't have on their planet. You know,
Joe Biden's like, well, let me tell you something about Jack Kirby. All right.
you're from Pennsylvania. That's a terrible Joe Biden. You got to be more like, now let me tell you something about Joe Kirby. You gotta sound like you fell down the stairs upwards.
I knew him. I knew him personally. He invented Spider-Man. Was that Batman? Jack Kirby.
Jack Kirby was Spider-Man.
That's what I thought.
It's a very Joe
Irrelevant.
Biden statement you just made there.
Irrelevant after Stanley became famous.
Yeah.
Stanley
So I
stole
played.
all his fame.
All right, you're okay.
I mean,
Leave the comics
true.
to the comic guy.
all
guys.
right.
I've been doing Shortbox Summary, the comic book podcast on the side. Been hitting a mostly regular schedule until the Celtics gave me a heart attack by going to Game 7 against Philly. I think that's the first week I've missed an episode in quite some time. And been trying really hard to actually catch up on Marvel. For the most part, I have a stack of like maybe 25 comics, and once I check those out, then I'm up to date on everything Marvel.
God bless you. I don't know how you do it.
Just I don't
know how
sleep a
that's
lot.
possible.
Even when I was like as deep as can possibly be in the comic book sphere, I couldn't keep up with everything more. That's so much money. God.
Oh well, no, it's like sorry. Keep up with everything I'm I'm reading.
Oh.
I'm not
very different.
reading every book. Marvel Unlimited, DC Infinite made it so like there's a month delay between their books and comics hitting like their service. Marvel upped it from 6 months to 3 months.
Okay.
So
that
at
makes
most,
sense.
if you catch up on everything on Marvel Unlimited, you're 3 months behind, which I think is fine. I prefer
It's
a month,
acceptable.
but whatever. You
Yeah.
gotta keep stores in business somehow. So I get it. So I had a whole bunch of books that I was subscribed to just for like collecting purposes, and I finally caught up on all of those books. So like Captain Marvel, Amazing Spider-Man, a whole bunch of random minis, both Captain America titles, like all that shit. I'm good to go. I'm all caught up on all that. I haven't touched X-Men yet. That's probably going to be my summer project because I've got like 15 trade paperbacks downstairs that I'm just like every time I go downstairs, I just like look at them and I'm like, not today, not today.
By the way,
But I think things would be good.
we got a comment, which we now can do mid-podcast thanks to our live streaming.
Ooh.
From Alden, and just to clear this up, he said, what's the coach situation looking like? Is he still overseas, or what's going on with him? I'm missing hearing about him and Breath of the Wild and whatnot. No, coach is still around.
Coach.
He's not over the seas,
Fucking coach.
unless he's over the seas in Texas. So
He's probably on I-80 somewhere. We
Yeah,
don't
probably.
know right now.
probably. So he's riding his bike, playing a little bit of Breath of the Wild, doing all that good stuff. So
Does 80 go through Texas? I don't think so.
it's a great question.
I thought doesn't
It
it go
goes
through
from-
like the northern tip?
it's like- From Pennsylvania to California, I think.
Is I thinking of I-40?
I don't know.
There's
Well-
there might be
80 is
too
the longest-
many roads.
80 is the longest highway in the United States.
There might be too many roads.
There
Yeah,
might
so
be.
maybe coach is just on those roads, and that's why he's not on. He's just busy driving.
Yeah.
No, Coach was supposed to be here tonight. He's coming back from some school function. That's why he's not here.
Yeah.
But he fully intends to be back for the first full episode. This is more of like a test episode, right? This
Yep.
is us trying to get
Yeah,
our
we're just-
bearings, figuring out the new system.
Yeah. Have you guys ever watched the LA Beast on YouTube?
Oh, of course,
No.
of course.
Dude, he's
Oh.
one of the greatest like food like competition eater people that you can watch on YouTube, George. And he does this thing. It cracks me up every time, where he's like when he's like really messed up, like eating something hot, or he's like about to throw up, and he goes, "Just got to get my bearings straight." And he does the robot, and he posts a picture of the bearings straight on the screen. It kills me every time. He's one of the best YouTubers, man. I swear to God.
Look him up, George. Seriously, he is like, it's just junk YouTube,
Alright.
but it's great. He's a great channel.
Yeah,
Great channel.
he's the guy that was responsible for getting Crystal Pepsi to come back to stores like 3 years ago.
What a
And,
hero. God, yeah.
Well, because he drank a 25-year-old bottle of Crystal Pepsi and threw up on YouTube. He's quite a legend. His YouTube name is Skippy62Able, I believe.
I watched one recently where he ate like a 30-year-old bag of chips that was found under like a under a locker, and he said he ate it and it was disgusting, and then he called the number on the back because it said, "Please call this number if it's not fresh. We guarantee freshness."
And they'll replace him, and he did. And,
And
the
he
lady's
did.
like, "Are you serious?"
And they set up like coupons, like they sent him discounts to buy new stuff.
It's fantastic, George. You gotta watch
Okay.
this guy.
Yeah, I mean, he sounds great. Yeah.
He once, like in his early years, he tried to win the competition Guinness thing, whatever, for amount of warheads eaten, and he ate so many warheads that his tongue started bleeding, like falling apart. It was crazy.
He's done
It's crazy.
that.
This guy's-
He's eating a cactus. I remember that.
Yeah, he,
Like
two of them.
with like spikes still in the cactus.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, he chased an ostrich away from its eggs, and because he got into like some sort of like beef with this other competition eater, and this guy was like they were trying to one up each other, and he chased an ostrich away from its eggs with this stick, and the ostrich farmer was like, "If he comes at you, I cannot save you. You are on your own." This guy-
No, I mean, he sounds really fucking cool. Yeah.
he's a cool guy.
he's great. He eats a lot.
He does. I don't know how he's not fat. No.
Real quick, I've also but before we move on from what I've been able to say, also I've been reaching out to a lot of other comic podcasts and been appearing on other shows, which has been super fun. And I think that's something we should maybe do for Frame Skip. I've appeared on Last Comic Shop a couple times, which is a podcast I really like. I'm really excited. On Thursday, I'm recording with Social Justice Warriors Comics podcast, SJWs. Very excited. Talking about a Batgirl comic. I can't wait to discuss. And then this weekend, actually, I'm doing a live stream for The Cure with Last Comic Shop, where we're talking about Batman vs. Incredible Hulk. So can't wait for that.
Get a hold of Dan Gavazden and Mark Janacchia. They do a podcast called Superior Spider Talk. Actually, no, they changed it to Amazing Spider Talk.
Amazing Spider Talk. Oh, yeah, no, I follow that dude on Twitter, yeah.
I don't tell him you know me. I interviewed him a long time ago on R&M. And,
I remember this.
Yep, and we had a really good episode. And he has a really great Spider-Man podcast. Probably the best one I've ever seen. So,
wait, did you say don't tell him you know me?
No, probably don't bring me up at all. But
what'd you do?
Nothing.
He showed him some LA Beast videos, actually.
Yeah. No, we just had very conflicting opinions on what Spider-Man should be. And we got in a few heated arguments. And then I remember we got in an argument one time over like my brother's addiction or something like that. And he's like, he's like, if I put a cheeseburger in front of you and you ate it, was that be considered a sickness or something? I'm like, if I had a problem with eating cheeseburgers, I probably wouldn't eat it. But I'm a little offended that you brought the cheeseburger thing up.
Okay, yeah.
You didn't mean
it
offensively.
You're right.
But if it was LA Beast, he would have eaten that thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, you're right. He was in a space. He was in a space I was in earlier, talking about really controversial Amazing Spider-Man issue 26 that comes out in a week, 2 weeks. And you're right. I won't mention that I know you if I talk to him.
Yeah.
That fuckhead. Yeah.
Seth Slakehouse, that you're associated with that piece of shit. Also, shout out to Dan Slott, who blocked me on Twitter years ago, unblocked me, and then I replied to him in a very George. Now listen, I know what you're thinking. I wasn't mean. All right, I wasn't. And I just said because he posted something about how like awful the Amazing Spider-Man community is, and all I said was, "Well, Dan, you treat him like crap. I mean, you blocked me." So I said the same thing to Jason Schreier, by the way, and he blocked me as well. So they just don't like that when you say that, apparently. Oh well. Anyway, you have to anything else, George?
I've been walking a lot lately. That's pretty much it.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah. Walked 10 miles yesterday. Wish you guys could see my watermelon calves I got under this desk.
George, is this
watermelon?
Is this fitness year? Because Andie and I have been training for a 5K. So I've
decided a couple things. I've decided this summer. You guys ready for my summer plans?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm gonna get into pickling this summer.
Like pickling, like food,
like
food
pickling
items?
Vegetables.
Yeah, like making my own pickle.
Do it.
How does that relate to walking?
It's my fucking plans for the summer, Seth.
Oh well, I thought we was connecting to fitness. I didn't understand.
That's also one of my plans for the summer. Can I continue my goddamn list here?
My bad. I was confused.
So I'm gonna get really into pickling. I realized I'm not happy with any of the golden barbecue sauces available in my area, so I want to get really good at making my own golden barbecue sauce. I've decided I haven't had enough sun-dried tomatoes in my life, so I was gonna try to eat more of those this summer. I would like to clear up some blind spots on 80s movies this summer. And I realize I've been neglecting my Switch too much, so this is gonna be the summer of Switch for me.
Right.
And also, it's Hot George summer, so I'm going to be walking a lot and cutting down the LBs.
I remember the last time I saw you in person, you were in pretty good shape.
That's because I lived in a city and I had to walk everywhere. I live in the country now and I got to drive everywhere. So now I'm forcing myself to take several breaks a day. I try to walk 4 miles before I start my day. Like, wake up, just crawl out of bed, find a podcast I can listen to, walk a couple miles, and then take several breaks throughout the day to walk some more miles.
Real quick before I move on, I keep forgetting. Also, Alden, thank you for the congratulations. For people who don't know, Alden put it in the chat. I got engaged on May 4th.
Ooh.
Yep.
Right in front of the
And he
Millennium
says-
Falcon. It was awesome.
But also, me and Pedro putting up more episodes of Alpha Nerd than Frameskip. So thank you, Alden. I appreciate that.
Oh, you put up 120 episodes of Alpha Nerds? That's pretty cool.
No, he said
Oh, that's
putting
sick.
out
You
at
put
a more rapid rate.
Oh, cool. That's not the same thing as putting up more episodes than Frameskip, just so we're clear.
Well, no, I read that wrong. I was paraphrasing.
All right, cool. It's just like we slept for 5 months and we still put out more episodes than you, fucking Islanders dork, Pedro. Yeah.
Whoa! I'll
No, don't tell him. No, because Bruins lost in the first round of the playoffs after having a historic season. So please do not bring up anything hockey to him. I couldn't live with myself.
Every once in a while, when me and him are hanging out, I remind him that you didn't know that he was a friend of mine, and you're like, and he was following you because of the podcast, and you were like, this asshole Pauly Deuces.
I forgot about this.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, that's just Pedro. Yeah, that's just the way he is. He doesn't mean it. But yeah. So anything else before we move on, George, that you've been up to?
JRPG Summer also. I'm
Oh.
halfway through Grandia, having a good time.
Proud of you. It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one. All right. Well, as far as what I've been up to, as Austin said, I just got back from Disney. I stayed an extra week longer than him. And I gotta say, Austin, me and Caitlin both agreed by the time we left, we were getting real sick of those songs playing at the Art of Animation Resort.
I meant to talk to you about this. It was like the same 6 songs. Like it never changed.
Yeah.
It was so George, the resort we stayed in, it was all themed to, well, there were like 4 themes. It was Little Mermaid, Lion King, Cars, and what was the other one? Finding Nemo.
Yeah, Finding Nemo.
So those were like the 4 themes at the resort. And so anytime you were on a bus to or from Disney, or in like the dining area or the lobby, there were like 5 songs from those 4 movies that played over and over and over and over again. So I can't tell you how many times I heard Life is a Highway as we were sitting there eating breakfast and dinner in this dining area. But it was a great resort. That being said, loved it. Aside from those 5 songs.
Yeah, we were real sick of those like 5 or 6 songs. But we had a blast. Caitlin got sick down there. She got some sort of like cold in her sinuses and in her respiratory system that she's still recovering from. But we still had a great time. We went to Universal and checked out their Harry Potter area. That was pretty cool. The rest of Universal, I gotta say, not that impressed. I wasn't impressed with the rest of Universal.
Did you ride Velocicoaster?
Yeah, and it was cool, but not really related to Jurassic Park in any way, right? It's just like this random roller coaster there. So the Universal thing is like Disney does something different with like its details on stuff, whereas I felt like the Universal like parks were just like, and I've been there before, this is my 3rd time going to Universal. They were just like, here's a bunch of themed rides around, or here's a bunch of rides themed around these things, and it didn't really jive the same way Disney did. But they have a lot of fun like roller coasters and stuff. But the Disney parts of Universal were built by former people that worked at Disney, and you can really tell they're like the Harry Potter areas. So they're really cool, and there's a lot of detail. You can like get your wands chosen, and it was a really cool experience. But as far as what else I've been up to these last 5 months, I bought a Steam Deck. I don't know if I talked about this in the last. I don't think so. I haven't had that long. I bought a Steam Deck, and I am so impressed with the Steam Deck, dude. Like, I didn't think I was gonna like it as much as I do, but it just works, and I wasn't expecting that. Like the ability that I don't have to worry about like, you know, remote playing or my PS Plus membership or, you know, the Game Pass connectivity. And I got my Steam library on it, and Steam just automatically, as soon as you close a Steam game, it uploads your save, right? And I can sit on the couch and play my Steam games when Caitlin's watching TV or something like that. And it's super comfortable to hold, and the touchpads work phenomenally on it. I really wish Valve would come out with like some more technology now that I've seen what they can do with the Steam Deck, because I am like absolutely in love with it. And for people wondering, I did buy it essentially just to be a Kaseki machine to play the Legend of Heroes games. So for people who don't know this, I have been playing through an RPG series for the last 3 years called The Legend of Heroes. And
You're such a fucking dork.
And he's an eighth of the way through.
I know, dude. I'm like a half of the way through now. All right.
How many hours is that?
Like 650 or something like that. No, maybe more. I don't know.
Fucking
Because each
Christ.
one of the 4 Trails of Cold Steel games are 100 hours each. And then since I got the Steam Deck, I played through Trails in the Sky 1 and 2, which actually took place before, and then I should have played them first. Which are phenomenal games, by the way. Like absolutely classic, phenomenal JRPGs. Trails in the Sky. I really recommend people play them. They're very different than Trails in Cold Steel. And then Trails in the Sky, the third, I'm currently on. And then I have Trails from Zero and Trails to Azure. And then Trails into Reverie comes out in July. And then there's the other trilogy that we haven't gotten localized yet called Kuro no Kaseki. And they're all super long games. Phenomenal, but I will say people warned me that remember how I was like not feeling Trails of Cold Steel for the longest time? I was like kind of just too deep to let go. People warned me that like the writing drops off in Trails of Cold Steel, and they're absolutely right. Like Trails in the Sky has probably the best female protagonist I've ever dealt with in a video game, and probably the best character development I've ever seen in a video game. So it's like top notch writing. And then for some reason, the writing just kind of falls off in Trails of Cold Steel. I think because they were trying to follow like a Persona trend, and it didn't really work out. And 3 and 4 were a lot better, but 1 and 2 pacing's awful. So that's why I bought a Steam Deck, though, so I could continue playing them on the go and just churn out these hours. What else have I been up to? Not really much else. That's pretty much taken all my time.
While we're on that, Seth, before you move on to something else, Alden just asked a question. He said, do you think they'll ever port the Trails in the Sky games to modern consoles?
Maybe. I just saw reports that Trails, the one that the duology that just came out, Trails to Azure and Trails from Zero, they sold way better than Falcom was expecting in the United States. So I could see them getting a re-release. And also like the Kaseki series is just getting like a lot of momentum, and they're doing really well with that series. So I've been up to that, and that's pretty much it. Like just chilling, playing Trails games. What else? I don't know. I played a little bit of Scarlet Nexus, let go of that. Didn't like that at all. The game kind of sucks. And yeah, I got engaged. That's pretty much the only thing that's going on in my life.
Did you do Tales of Arise? Because that came out around the same time. Not around the same time, but like same calendar year, I think, as Scarlet Nexus.
Yeah. So I loved Tales of Arise. I thought Tales of Arise was the best Tales game of all time. And also, I just had this conversation with Pedro not too long ago. It's also surprisingly the best rated game in the Tales series on Metacritic. It has like a really good Metacritic score. It deserves it. People online say that the writing drops off in the second half. I don't agree. Actually, I think it's fine all the way through. The only problem with Arise is that the enemy variety isn't phenomenal. So, and the only thing else that I gotta say is I left my Switch on the plane yesterday, and I'm pretty sure it's gone forever. And I was really feeling the Xenoblade 3 DLC. I also beat Xenoblade 3 and hated it, but the DLC that came out was phenomenal. I had the same. I don't know. I think I started Xenoblade 3 last year when we were doing the podcast, and I had the same issues all the way through, where like the characters didn't fit. I thought the writing was pretty bad for the characters, and like there's a relationship that's supposed to be building throughout the entire game, and I didn't even realize it until 80% of the way through. That's how like they didn't make it front and center. So, but the DLC that came out recently, Future Redeemed, that's actually really good, and I was having a blast like catching up with old characters that they brought back and stuff, and really recommend the Xenoblade trilogy for anybody who is looking for a good RPG series to play on Switch. So
I'm like halfway through the first one. I haven't played it in like 6 months, but it's one of the few games where I haven't touched it in so long, but I still remember exactly what's happening in the story. I remember, like, I know exactly where I am on the map and like in my quest. I still remember all the mechanics. Like, for whatever reason, that game did a really good job of leaving its thumbprint on me. Whereas like The Witcher 3, I'm like, I think I have two, like, yeah, I got a silver sword for monsters and like a steel sword for people, and I think I'm on Skellige, and I think I'm in the like, I just like, there's so much I don't remember about so many games that I've started, but for whatever reason, like Xenoblade Definitive Edition really left its mark on me. So again, summer of Switch, baby. I might just go back and finish that.
you should, because the one thing to look forward to, and I think this is the reason the Xenoblade series like proliferates and gets bigger and bigger throughout the more people that play them, is that there's always a giant plot dump at the end of the Xenoblade games, and like there's a giant twist, and that everything like they foreshadow things throughout the whole game, and you don't realize it, and then at the very end they're like, oh, this is what's really going on. You're like, oh my god, that's really cool. And then they flip flop narrative direction in the games. So like the second game, Xenoblade 2, it takes a more plot focused instead of character focused narrative, and I think that's actually more to my taste.
Mhm.
But Xenoblade 2 is my favorite in the series. As you can see, I have, well, you can't see it, but I have the Pirate Mithra statues back here,
Nice.
and they are now the real ones. Previously, I had bootlegs. These are now the real ones, the $300 ones each.
Did you have
So-
bootlegs by accident?
No.
No.
I was just refusing at the time to pay that much money for these figures, but I changed my mind and I bought them.
Gotcha. I got a question for you two about something I've been dealing with lately.
Okay.
So back in April, I pre-ordered a few video games.
Okay.
And some amiibos. I work a couple of jobs. I got a paycheck from one of my extra jobs, and that felt like extra money to me. So I was like, all right, Advance Wars, pre-order. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I didn't like the first game, but whatever. I'm going to give this one a try. Pre-order. Zelda amiibo. Going to get that Majora's Mask one. Going to get Tears of the Kingdom. Oh, cool. I get a bonus for Tears of the Kingdom. That's rad. And then I was feeling a little frisky the next time I got a paycheck. I was like, you know what? I'm going to pre-order Diablo 4. I'm going to pre-order Final Fantasy 16. Pre-order Jedi Survivor. Now, Jedi Survivor showed up day and date, right? Got here on the Tuesday or maybe even the Friday, whatever. It showed up when I wanted it to show up. Advance Wars showed up when I wanted it to show up. Tears of the Kingdom was supposed to arrive last Friday. It didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I got the amiibos that I ordered, and I got the pre-order bonus. And I just got a notification from Best Buy that it's not supposed to show up until Thursday. So it's almost a week late. So at this point, would you guys cancel your Diablo pre-orders and and Final Fantasy pre-order and just go with somewhere else?
Probably.
Like, would you continue to support this company?
That's a great question.
It depended on if I really cared about playing the games on release day. If I did, I would cancel them. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a little bit inexcusable as far as like a big game goes. Best Buy's a big enough corporation; they know how many copies they should order.
It's not even
I
that.
don't
It's where they fucking ship it from. Like, I get a notification like, "Oh, your package has like left the store, and like it's being shipped." And it's like it's being shipped from New Mexico, and I'm
Oh
like,
my lord.
dude, it is Thursday. Like, what? You're shipping this on a Thursday from New Mexico, and like you're telling me
annoying.
with a straight face that it's arriving tomorrow. And like, I like Best Buy. I like Best Buy more than I like Amazon. Generally more than I like GameStop. But like, god damn, man, like I don't even care about Tears of the Kingdom. Like, it's not even me being pissed about this. I would have liked to have played it last weekend, but whatever. But like, I really want to play Final Fantasy 16 the day it comes out. I really want to play Diablo 4 the day it comes out. Like, it's mostly those. Like, they're lucky that like Zelda's the one I kind of care about the least.
So
like, you're not gonna like this answer, but this is what I do.
Buy it at a physical store the day of, and then wait for your copy to come back, and then return the copy you ordered to the physical store.
great idea.
That is not
Oh,
what I do.
that's
But
that's what I used. That's what I used to do. I hate driving. It's so far to my nearest Walmart.
no, what I normally do is if I'm buying a game for the collection purposes, I'll also buy a digital copy and play it at midnight.
So you buy
That's what I
two.
do. Yeah, that's what I did for Final
That's
Fantasy
interesting.
7 and what's the other one? Kingdom Hearts 3.
I did that for
I-
Metroid Prime.
So like Final
Yeah.
Fantasy
The
16,
re-release.
I bought the super expensive like $350 collector's edition, and sorry you can hear my girlfriend blowing her nose in the background. But I will also be getting a digital version of that because I know that's not going to show up at
Fiance.
midnight. Yeah,
Your
sorry,
fiance.
my fiance. And I know that's not going to show up at midnight, so I'm going to get a digital version because I want to play it at midnight, and I also like I don't want to mess up like the disc and whatnot, especially if I'm buying that for collection purposes. So that's what's going on.
Yeah. I've gotten to a point now where with Switch, I still pretty much always go physical if it's a first party Nintendo game, just because those games like hold their value until the end of time. I mean, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is going to be $60 until 2352.
Yeah. That and I just bought a copy of Spirit Tracks for like $80. So
Yeah.
like actually it's going
Yeah.
to appreciate in time.
Yeah. So I still buy physical for those. So when I buy physical copies of those games, I typically either buy in store. I know it's farther for you, or I pre-order on Amazon because we've got like a bunch of Amazon facilities close. But honestly, when it comes to like the Series X and PS5, I've just been going digital recently. I know that's not like also the answer you want to hear,
Yeah.
George, but I don't. I've gotten to a point where I don't care as much about the collection on that system because I know that those games are going to depreciate and just I don't know. Doesn't really matter to me.
Well, for me, it's like literally just because like utilities suck where I live, and like my
Yeah.
internet kind of goes out a lot.
Right.
So it's one of those things where like I just don't ever want to be dependent on the internet for something, you know. So that's like my biggest concern. But also like Diablo 4, I assume is going to be like always fucking online. So like, what difference does it make?
Of course.
So Alden says, cancel it, George. Best Buy delayed my Scarlet and Violet double pack pre-order by a month, and my local Walmart in the middle of nowhere had both double pack and both versions individually. That is Alden's take.
Ah, damn Alden. All right, coming in hot for Alden. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's reasonable if it's a week late to cancel it. I mean, they know. They should know that people want to play these games immediately. I mean, that's why you pre-order it, you know. But I don't know. I haven't dealt with Best Buy in a long time. I generally don't buy anything from them.
I love going to them because I'll buy something and then be short of like the free shipping or whatever. And there's just always like a Blu-ray that I want that's like $8. And so I just find 3 of those to fill up and then I get free shipping. So like that's usually what it is. Like I think when I pre-ordered one game on its own and it didn't qualify for free shipping. And then I got like, oh, the last 2 Scream movies. Oh, here's a Fast and Furious movie I didn't have, you know, and just like filling in that collection too.
I've been really considering starting to just buy Blu-rays and stuff because I'm getting kind of sick of streaming services
Yeah.
and just having like these constant like subscriptions. Especially like Disney Plus, which I think I'm going to cancel because they're upping their price, and I like now that this Mandalorian's over, I have nothing to watch on Disney Plus. Like for instance, like Crunchyroll, I watch like one thing a month on Crunchyroll, if that, maybe less, maybe every other month. And I'm like, well, you know, just in case. But really, that's just me being lazy.
Mhm.
The subscription services, in my opinion, have gotten like way out of control. Like Netflix is I think probably going to take a downhill swing real fast soon. I don't know what they're thinking. They're out of control.
Netflix, like I listen to a lot of like Hollywood podcasts just because I work from home and go outside and smoke a few cigarettes, and my job isn't especially hard, but it does require me to just like understand current like trends for a lot of things. So I like to stay up to date on Hollywood shit, and they always talk about streaming services. I actually think Netflix is going to bounce back because Netflix right now is like the only streamer that's like making money, whereas a lot of other people are shedding subscribers and having to like up their prices to combat like operating loss.
Yeah.
Well,
The price hikes are insane too. I mean, like Disney Plus is, I don't even know what they're going up to, but I know it's a huge jump from where we started.
Yeah, they started like $7.99 a month or something,
Yeah.
like super reasonable.
I got mine for
Yeah.
like $50 for like the whole year. Like they had
Yeah.
like some bonus if you signed up.
I also remember that they didn't charge me for like 6 months, Disney Plus. And then one day I randomly got charged. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess they figured it out.
Wait, shit, we haven't talked about this. Mando.
Yeah.
Yay,
Mandalorian.
nay.
Nah. I thought the last episode was good, but it just spun its tires way too long. It felt weird. Like they didn't know what they wanted to do with it.
I thought it was fine. Like I thought there were good portions, but it just, I don't know. I feel like it didn't add a whole lot to my life. Like I think that could have been like a 4-episode season. You know, trim the fat, and it could have worked. I don't know.
If they wanted to make this show about, and like I'm not one of these people that like throw a fit. I love Bo-Katan, but if they wanted to make the show about Bo-Katan and like her reuniting the Mandalorians, just make the show about that. Make that show, right? I don't know why they thought that the 3rd season of The Mandalorian was the appropriate place for that. Bo-Katan has a massive fan base.
Yeah.
She can sell a show by herself. I guarantee it. And I really do think that the decision to bring Grogu back for the 3rd season the way they did in the second to last episode of the Book of Boba Fett was like a panic button from Disney, being like, what, worried that Mandalorian season 3, no one was going to tune in for it if Grogu wasn't there. So I don't know, because the Book of Boba Fett, the last 2 episodes, or no, it was the 7th episode and the 8th episode, I think. I can't remember how many episodes there were. I thought there was 10, but they were all about Jin, and it's like, why? This is the Book of Boba Fett. It didn't really make any sense at all. So I don't know. I'm generally not one of these people that are super negative over Disney Star Wars these days. I understand the sequel series isn't good, but I think the TV shows have been pretty phenomenal, or at least okay and watchable.
Mm-hmm.
And The Mandalorian season 3 has probably been the low point for me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Man, I loved it. Again, though, yeah. Well, it's just one of those things where, like, I'm just so happy with the world of Star Wars. Like, there was that one episode where it's like the 2 of them going to like that former Imperial planet, like with Lizzo and Jack Black, and I just thought it was so interesting to see a world where like they thought they fixed society, right, just by like having like all droids run everything, and then just seeing like what problems people have when they actually don't have to do anything. Like, I just thought that was like, that felt like a Twilight Zone episode almost, right? Like, I thought that was pretty cool to see it tackle that.
And by the way, like I said, I mean, anytime I get Bo-Katan in there, that show has one of my favorite, or that episode you're talking about has one of my favorite scenes of any Mandalorian scene, where she's trying to like negotiate with the droid, and you see Mando in the back just kicking over the B2 battle droids.
Yes,
dude. Yeah, it's like one of those fucking Boston Dynamics videos, right? Where it's like that little 4-legged thing, and they're just trying to knock it off balance.
He's like, if they're really not battle droids anymore, they won't mind if I do this, and he just starts bullying them. And I'm like, this is awesome. Because until that point, like, you kind of forgot that he hates droids. Like, he absolutely, and those droids specifically, he hates them. So I thought that was like a really good night callback. I don't know. People were like trashing on Lizzo and Jack Black in that episode, and I get it. It was a little more like kid friendly, but to me it felt like a Clone Wars episode. Yeah. And that's where Bo-Katan came from, and I really like Bo-Katan. I would like to see a show with Bo-Katan. She's also got the coolest Mandalorian helmet.
Agreed. Yeah, for sure. Also, I didn't mind her kind of taking over the show for a bit there, right? Because like, I like the idea of like the Mandalorian, just the title of the show, like, changing meaning, right? Where it was about Din Djarin, and then all of a sudden it was about Bo-Katan, where she was the Mandalorian, like she was the heir apparent to Mandalore. Like, I actually thought that was like kind of interesting and kind of bold. Yeah. And like, wouldn't mind it like if she actually became the star of the show, and then like Din Djarin was like a supporting character going forward. But like, just like the Mandalorian, like the most important person in this cultural sphere. Like, I kind of like that, having like almost like a rotating cast. I mean, they're not going to do that based on the end of the last episode, but I would have supported that. I don't like I said, I don't hate the idea of Bo getting her own show, but to me it just felt like a very Seth, you're good. You don't have to defend it. I know you like Bo-Katan. It's okay.
it just felt like a really hard transition to like him taking a backseat to his own show, and she'd only been in like 1 or 2 episodes previous to that.
Well, do you guys think there's any? Have either of you seen this rumor going around that he, like, Pedro Pascal didn't like being in his armor and like wanted to? I don't know all the details, but something about he was unhappy on set, and that's why Bo-Katan was like the main focus of the season. I don't know if I believe that, but
There's always like annoying rumors that come out of
Yeah.
the Star Wars community because that community is just so miserable about literally everything
Yeah.
that they just want everything to fail for some reason. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, the Disney's had Star Wars for like 12 years now. Like, it's get over it. Like
Yeah.
this is the way. George Lucas isn't coming back, and people need to realize that. It's like let it go, you know.
Also, the one thing I wonder too, I've talked about this in some spaces before. I I didn't like the prequels when they were coming out, but I do
Mhm.
think content, or not even content, just shows like the Clone Wars, shows like Rebels, a lot of the comics. I think those did like a lot of work in making me like it, not like the prequels, like not love the prequels the way I love the originals, but at least like appreciate the prequels. And so I'm wondering too, like if the show keeps going and with other shows, like I know there's the writer's strike going on right now, so that's delaying like Acolytes and a whole bunch of other Star Wars projects. But I also wonder like if these shows can do some lifting to sort of recontextualize the way we feel about the sequel trilogy. Because I agree that they're generally underwhelming. I think they've got really cool moments, but I don't think they're necessarily great movies. You know, like if you could recut a trailer to the movie with like all the best scenes, you'd be like, "Fuck, this looks amazing!" Right? Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of like good stuff in those movies. I just don't think they stick the landing. So I wonder if there is going to be new Star Wars content set in that time period that fixes our opinion, or at least helps our opinion of those movies.
I think we're already
Yeah.
starting to see a little bit of it because, I mean, I guess slight spoilers for Mandalorian season 3, but they're already starting to tease that they're going to explain more of like how Palpatine came back. Like they're going to somehow dive further into that. And my understanding is that's also happened in the most recent season of Bad Batch. So that at least seems to be a huge pull of, hey, we need to actually explain this like totally just awful
Fucking
plot hole.
left turn that came out of nowhere.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to see more of kind of a deeper dive into the stuff that happened in the sequels as they try and kind of explain the just absolute living hell of plot holes that those movies have.
Well, so like I think they're two different problems though, right? Like the prequels lacked context. And that's why the Clone Wars was able to help them so much, because from like a normal viewer, when those movies came out, Anakin's turn to the dark side comes really quick. It's like, okay, well he's he's still on the light side and like still wants to be a good person in 90% of that movie. In the last 10%, he's like, I'm going to slaughter all these kids. And it doesn't really come very quick, or it comes way too quick. But in the Clone Wars, when they add context, it makes a lot more sense what happened.
Yeah.
And also they dive a lot more into like the character of these characters, like Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he turns out he had this giant backstory where he almost left the Jedi Order, and it adds a lot of lore that explains like how the Force Ghost thing happened, and they built Ahsoka up from the ground up by giving her really unlikable, um, characteristics that they could control because they know that the community is awful, and then fix those so that people fell in love with Ahsoka, who, in my opinion, is the greatest Star Wars character at this point.
Wait,
And
all time, or just from the Clone Wars?
I think so. All time.
Damn.
After watching like the Clone Wars and Rebels, she's the best developed character, the most consistent developed character, in my opinion. And then in the sequel trilogy, the issues are completely different, where it's not like lacking context; it's like bad decisions. And
It's
I don't
the
know
plot.
how. Yeah, I don't know how you fix that with more things set in that universe. Like we have the timeline of the movies, right? So Rey being as powerful as she is still doesn't make sense. In the original, because people bring up her comparison to like Luke Skywalker. Well, people don't realize that Luke Skywalker spent 2 years training with Yoda on Dagobah. It doesn't seem like that, but that's the way it is.
Okay, yeah, I get that, and like canonically, yes, it is 2 years, but it's not presented as 2 years.
It's not,
right? Like, it
was
like
bad
that,
writing by Lucas.
and so like that's like the one part. Also, like another part is just like it's a fantasy story. Like they're the most powerful person because they're the most powerful person. Like I personally don't need more than that. Like the nerd in me wants more than that, but like to just enjoy a movie for 2 hours, like I'm not gonna sit there and nitpick mid movie about all this shit and then be mad about it after. Especially knowing like a huge comic slut I am. I'm just gonna go and read all the tie-ins as soon as I get home anyway.
would you feel the same way at like any level though? Like if in the last movie, instead of like confronting Palpatine, Daisy Ridley used the Force to pull the sun into his planet and just blew it up, would you be like, well, it's because she's the main character? I kind of feel like that's like there's got to be a limit to something.
Well, no, but also like, how did Luke get so powerful between Empire Strikes Back and fucking Return of the Jedi? Like, all he did was lose his fucking hand and not talk to Yoda. So it's like, okay, how did he all of a sudden become like a borderline Jedi god in that amount of time if he didn't even do anything, right? And where the fuck did that come from?
I don't want to be annoying about it.
No, please hit me.
Well, the thing was that according to the lore, when Anakin turned to the dark side, the Force chose a new chosen one, which was Luke, and Luke has all the potential that Anakin had. So
that's the lamest shit I've ever heard.
I told you I knew the answer, and I didn't say
the Holy Spirit passed into Luke.
Where is that? Where is that in canon? That's the answer.
Well, again, though, like the lore added a lot to the prequel and the sequels, I would say, but I don't know that adding more content to the original trilogy. The lore added a lot of context to the prequels and the original trilogy. I don't know that adding more context to the sequels makes them any better, because there's just a really weird amount of bad decisions. Like, you can explain things like that stupid dagger she found that aligns up with the mountains from thousands of years ago or something like that. Dumb, and how the Death Star maybe survived and fell into a planet and didn't destroy it. Whatever, okay. But I don't really see how you can add more context to change things in the Force, like teleportation. Like when they teleported the lightsabers to each other. And like, I don't know, man. Like, there's just a lot of really weird decisions in the sequel trilogy that I didn't realize at the time. But the more you think about it, the more
I thought that was fucking awesome as hell, though. I thought that was so cool. Like, but again, like, I think that might be something that just works better as like movie magic than like Star Wars, right? Like,
yeah.
Because I do think linguistically the way that their powers were portrayed, like, that made sense, even if it doesn't make sense the way they bent time and space. But like visually, that part made sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about the world of Star Wars, right? I want things to make sense inside the world, and that's why I have so much problem with like the stupid speeder gang in Book of Boba Fett with
god,
like
the Mario Kart
Power Ranger like speeder bikes on Tatooine.
If that's the only problem you have with that show, then you don't have a fucking problem with that show. Then you don't have a problem with that show. It is a 2-minute scene. They are on like a completely barren, lifeless, colorless fucking planet that's made out of sand, rocks, and bad vibes. And then these fucking shit kids who are being anti-authoritarian, being all this, of course they had these fucking garish lightsabers. My problem with that scene is that, like, oh, the shit went really slow. We literally hustled down a fucking train in the previous episode. Like, that was the only problem with that show, is that they weren't the fucking speeder bikes from Return of the Jedi. But just the fact that they were bright and colorful, fuck you, go to Rome. Like, everything's bright and colorful when people want shit to be bright and colorful. That's,
well, yeah, I mean,
they live on Tatooine.
It wasn't enjoyable at all. They were going 3 miles an hour down this little like side street. They moved like 15 feet.
They were way too slow.
Awful. So bad.
But that was also, that felt like an American Graffiti throwback to George Lucas specifically. Did you guys ever see American Graffiti? Because it's actually the best thing George Lucas has ever done.
I haven't seen it.
Really good movie. It takes place, like, the entire movie takes place in one night before all these people are like on the precipice of change, and it's like them and movie made in the 70s about them reflecting on like the 60s, and it really, really genuinely good movie. I recommend it. I think it's on Netflix.
Alden asks thoughts on all three of you that Daisy Ridley's Rey will be a main character in episodes 10, 11, and 12. I didn't see that. I saw that she was getting one movie about the new Jedi Order.
Yeah, so they're doing a High Republic movie, right?
Yeah,
they're doing Heir to the Empire. Was the rumor going around that that's Dave Filoni's movie that looks like it's going to be a epilogue to Mandalorian and Ahsoka.
Right.
I have no idea if Ahsoka's delayed, like if they're still doing reshoots because of the writer's strike.
I was under the impression it was pretty much done by this point.
Yeah,
I think so too. But if they can't have a writer on site, like that part I don't know. So that part's still up in the air. And then there was supposed to be a third movie, and then that was the Daisy Ridley rebuilding the Jedi Order 15 years after.
Well, I don't think the writer
Rise of Skywalker, right?
I think the writer's strike might only impact Ahsoka, because I honestly don't think those other movies have been in production whatsoever.
Oh no.
you know.
No.
But as far as Daisy Ridley coming back for that new movie, I think it's awesome. I think Daisy Ridley got a really short end of the stick, just like Ewan McGregor
Yep.
and Anakin Skywalker and Hayden Christensen.
John
In
Boyega,
that,
Yep.
I think, yeah, and all the characters from
Oscar Isaac. Yeah, no, that's a good point.
the
Every
sequel
one of those
trilogy,
sequels, yeah.
but I thought they all were really good actors. But they got like a very unnecessarily bad set of cards with these two directors that hated each other apparently. And that they did make a cohesive story, and the fans hated it. But I also think at this point, if you're gonna be an actor in Star Wars, you just have to know the fans are gonna hate you. Like it's been, what, 40 years? No, like 46. They've hated everything. Ever since Return of the Jedi, everything that's come out, people have hated.
It's
at
so true.
first, and then they come around to it,
The community is so
like,
toxic.
Oh, it's the worst.
It's easier to think of things that they did like, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so it's like the Heir to the Empire trilogy, right? Timothy Zahn, like people liked that. I think Rogue Squadron 64 was safe. Rogue Squadron 2 was definitely safe.
Yeah.
Dude, I
No, I
remember
think-
watching what was it, Electronic Playground, like that G4 show.
Yeah.
With those two guys, they're talking about Knights of the Republic, and one said it was like the best RPG he's ever played in his entire life, and the other guy was just like, it's so annoying. I wish it was like an action game. Like, you don't want to sit there and press a menu where you're swinging a lightsaber. You just want to swing your lightsaber. And he was just like talking shit about the entire time. He's like, 8.5, 9. It's great. You should get it. Like, after spending like 8 minutes just talking shit about it.
Well, that one guy from Electric Playground, not to have a whole side about this, but Tommy Tallarico, I think his name was. He's in like a whole
Oh yeah.
bunch of drama.
Yeah.
He's like a complete prick. But
that was the one, because it was him and Victor Lucas.
yeah,
So
yeah, I forget Victor something. But anyway, yeah, I think Rey's a cool character, and her story, unfortunately, in my opinion, is crap. But she got a cool design, and I think Daisy Ridley's a good actress, and I hope that she gets the redemption of having a decent movie. I think
Mhm.
Disney's probably going to be a lot more careful, because reports that came out said that like after the Solo movie bombed and like the terrible reception of the sequel trilogy, they canceled all production on movies and just focused on those TV shows. And that's why we never saw like Ryan
Rogue
Johnson's
Squadron.
trilogy.
Yeah.
And, Rogue Squadron. But I don't know. What do you guys think about Daisy Ridley?
I think it's awesome. I mean, like you said, I think her character is actually great. It's just she really was not developed enough in the sequel trilogy. She kind of was just there, and I think it'll be cool. I mean, I hope that she's just kind of the focus. She's, like Luke was. I hope she's just kind of there, and I hope it's not like super attached to the sequels. Like, I hope it's just kind of its own thing. Her off doing whatever. And like you said, though, I think Daisy Ridley's a great actress. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm curious what the reception will be like. I mean, I know, like you said, Seth, no matter what she does, no matter how good the movie is, there are going to be so many people that just crap on it and crap on her no matter what. But it will be interesting to see in a few years from now, what the fans think about her character after this movie comes out. Because I really do think she deserves another shot.
Yeah. Just like Hayden Christensen got.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, listen, me and Coach disagree on Star Wars heavily, right? I do not understand the amount of hate the Obi-Wan show gets. I thought it was a great show, and I thought that Hayden Christensen did a phenomenal job coming back as Vader. And that last scene where he's like, "I'm not your failure, Obi-Wan," that scene is so emotional after you watch all of Clone Wars and Rebels, and you watch the prequels again, you realize like how close these guys were. And people shit all over that Obi-Wan show, and I don't understand it. But before we leave,
I don't.
Sorry, go ahead, George.
No, we'll talk about it next week, because I feel like this conversation's not done. It's just getting started. We'll talk about this. Talk about this
I
next
can
week.
talk Star Wars. I could make a whole podcast on Star Wars, I believe. But real quick, Alden says, "Why I see a shit post about they making Rey pregnant in the new trilogy?" Yeah, that was a shit post. It was people that were being annoying. Actually, you know what? I started this thing on Twitter where if someone annoyed me even slightly about their opinion, I unfollowed them. So like anybody that was being like super negative about Star Wars, I was like, you're done. I actually
Good.
one of my favorite YouTubers is Star Wars Theory, and I unfollowed him just because I thought he was being annoying on Twitter.
Yeah, I think he's annoying. How do you feel about Eckert's Ladder?
I haven't followed him on Twitter. I only watch some of his like he makes the really good lore videos, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only seen his YouTube videos. Is he annoying on YouTube or is he annoying on Twitter?
No. I think I like him more when he's like reflective on older stuff. Like he was doing a lot of day and date opinion of Mandalorian where I'm like, you're coming in a little hot here complaining about the story when it's not over yet. Like just shit like that where it's like people complaining like, I don't feel good about this season. It's like, bitch, it is episode 2. Like you gotta pump the brakes on that. Like I have no problem shitting on something bad, but like shit on something bad once it's done. Like don't interrupt something in the middle of the story just to say how much you don't fucking like it. Like that has never made sense to me. And we're gonna talk about that next week because Amazing Spider-Man number 26 is coming out. Maybe not next week, but the week after. And people are pissed, and people are fucking dumb for being pissed.
That is the one thing.
Some people have logical concerns and like legitimate concerns, but most of the people are just being babies.
That is the one thing. No matter how much I unfollow and like remove myself from subreddits and like tell Google I don't want to see it, I can't escape the Spider-Man thing. Like I'm like, stop showing me Spider-Man, and it won't. It's just like, I can't get away from it. But can I tell you my guy's theory real quick about Star Wars that I think is pretty spot on watching everything so far?
Yeah.
I think that they started a new Jedi Order in the Outer Rim in the Uncharted territories where Ezra got sent because Disney has dug themselves into a pretty interesting hole where they have way too many characters that people love that they cannot kill off. So, like, I think guys like Ezra Bridger and Grogu,
Cal,
Ahsoka, obviously, Cal, maybe Cal. I can see Cal. I can see Vader like chopping Cal's head off.
Maybe that happens.
Just brutally.
No, because like the tough thing with Cal, like you guys remember Force Unleashed? Like, wasn't it his family crest that became the symbol for the rebellion?
Yeah.
In the Force Unleashed, I'm like, well, you can't do that trick twice. You know, like you already showed us that one. So like, I don't know what they're gonna do with. I think they can kill Cal. I just hope they don't because I do like him.
Yeah, I like Cal too, but I don't think they're gonna kill like Ahsoka off. I think they tried that and people like were super pissed about it and they're like, nah, she's a pretty popular character and we can do a little more with her. But I don't see them ever killing off Ezra. And then you have to make some sort of explanation as to why they're not around. You should realistically, right? And Ezra disappeared on Space Whales at the end of Rebels. Sorry for any spoilers, but that's kind of the point of Ahsoka. And that's them finding them. So
wait, how far are you into Jedi Fallen Order?
I mean
Jedi Survivor.
On the second planet, not very far.
We should talk about Jedi Survivor next week. I think that'd be interesting.
Let's talk about. I'll probably have it beaten by next week. I'll be honest. I have vacation all this week.
Yeah.
You know how most people take a buffer day when they come back from vacation? I took a buffer week.
You took a buffer vacation for your vacation.
I really want to play more of it, but with Tears of the Kingdom out, I'm hooked on that right now. So whenever I wrap that up.
The only thing I will say is it doesn't seem like Tears of the Kingdom has an ending. So just do the thing that has an ending first.
Oh, crap. I didn't see that Eric Ladd commented earlier saying, dropping in to say a huge hello to you legends. Good to see the show back and congrats, Seth, on your big news. I know you're not here anymore, Eric. Thank you. I appreciate that. And also, we got a returning legend from long ago, Vatsal Patel. What's up, buddy? Glad to see you pulling here right at the end. It's been a good show. You should go back and listen to it.
Yeah, you should. You should.
Anyway, gentlemen, do we have any closing thoughts, comments, concerns?
I have no concerns. None.
Yeah,
no concerns? No. I think this is a good return episode.
To be back. Yeah.
It's going to be, I feel powerful. I feel like the Highlander when they chop each other's heads off and they get that jolt of lightning.
Is it because you built this badass Sith lightsaber, Seth? Is that why you feel powerful?
I do feel powerful.
Seth, to quote my guy Sean Connery, it's called the quickening. Yeah.
There can only be one Highlander, and that's you. Those movies do not age well. Not at all, by the way.
Nah, that's not true. The first one's fucking rips. It's got that Queen soundtrack.
I don't know.
Shit's amazing.
me and Pedro sat down a couple years ago when we still lived together and watched all three of them, and I was like, "Wow, there's a lot of bad effects in this movie."
Gotta be honest, never saw 2 or 3, but the first one fucks real hard. 2, I saw one scene where he gets shot like 80,000 times. I'm like, I don't need this. I don't need to see Sean Connery going down like this. I know he survived because they didn't chop his head off, but still. Also, it doesn't make sense he died in the fucking previous one, and then I read in the third one, and turns out they're aliens. Like, I don't need that.
Oh my God.
To my Highlander.
Well, what you don't know is that there's a whole TV show that takes place after that.
See, I actually do know because my girlfriend's dad is a huge fucking fan, and we talked about it.
And I've never seen the TV show, but I bet it's terrible.
Cool. Tony has. He explained things. It sounds fine. It sounds like a way you could spend time. It's good. We really hit it off talking about Stargate. Stargate was our.
I used to love Stargate.
Dude, Stargate is so good.
Place. Yeah.
Such a good
Stargate
show.
was a sick day show for me.
Oh, it was perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that about wraps it up this week. Until next time, I guess you can catch us pretty much everywhere you used to be, right, Austin? Austin, give us the rundown of where you can catch us.
Yeah.
When that uploads then.
Yeah, so we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All of those are at frameskippod. Of course, now you have found out that we will be live streaming the show moving forward on top of posting the recorded version that, of course, will just be a recording of this live episode. We will be posting that, of course, to our podcast feeds. So, Spotify, Podbean, your Google Podcast, your Apple Podcast. You can find the recorded version there. But moving forward, you can, of course, catch us on YouTube. If you're listening to us pre-recorded, you can catch us on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is just Frameskip, and you should be able to look up youtube.com/frameskippod. I think should work. So I'm going to have to check on that. This is our first time testing around with this. So catch us on there. I think we're going to be alternating between Tuesdays and Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So we are recording on a Tuesday night right now. So it should be next Wednesday, which would be the 24th.
Oh, very good.
May the 24th be with you.
Yes, exactly. That's why it's going to be a Star Wars episode, right?
Yeah, I'm down.
I'm like 12. I'm like 10 or 12 hours into Jedi Survivor. I think I can finish it this weekend.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I believe in you, George. I believe in George Loftus.
I believe in you as well.
All right. Well, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, remember, next time your game takes a poop, why don't you try on frame skip? That's all I got for that.
What?
I don't know. I was trying to do something with like games like freezing and then I'll figure it out for the next episode. All right.
Next time your game takes a poop, really?
Yeah. I was trying to ad-lib it and didn't work out very well.
Just do my sign off. I stole it from Lost, and it's just, I'll see you in another life, brother.
What's the? Hold on. No, I think it's only proper. I've still got it streaming. I think it's only proper that we end with LIB's sign off.
Have a good day.